And welcome to everybody to the VALR podcast. Really a great treat today to have Meow on the show.
Meow.
We have to meow.
Yeah, we have to meow. There'll be plenty of meows.
One, we'll do together.
Actually, the first
one, two,
okay,
three. Meow.
Meow.
So we're going to be talking about that Meow. I first met Meow in June in Paris. We were at a conference in Paris. Actually, one of my co-founders first met you, Meow, and he said, "Hey, Meow, why are you called Meow?" And he said to me that you leaned towards his ear and you said, "Meow." So he never got the story. He never got the story from you, but we had a chat.
Guys, check this out. No.
Can you hear us?
Yeah, can you check it out? Yeah, it's fine. It's a cat earring. Yeah.
Is it a cat?
Is it a cat earring?
Yeah, it's pretty cool. Yeah.
So Meow and I met first of all in Paris at a lovely dinner hosted by Lily Liu, who is the president of the Solana Foundation. And I wanted to start by telling our listeners about a crazy story, which is that we really had a lovely conversation that evening.
So we were sitting opposite each other, right? We were sitting opposite each other, right?
We were sitting right opposite each other.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And then we said we're going to get you on the podcast and you're going to tell everybody why you're called Meow. And then we kind of let it go. And a couple of days later, I was in London with G and a couple of my team members. And we decided to go and watch a show one evening, the Book of Mormon. And I was sitting there waiting for the show to start. And I looked ahead and I saw there was this guy on his computer. And he looked like there was some crypto stuff going on. And then I looked and I saw it was none other than Meow himself. So literally after a couple of days, just bumping into each other, literally sitting right next to each other, we said, this is a sign that we need to get this podcast going. So Meow, very, very welcome.
That was such a crazy story. I mean, I'm like, and what's crazier is that I met, so it's crazy, right? So we were, so four things, right? We met backstage, and then at the speaker lounge, and then we met at dinner, right? And then I met the whole bunch of you in the show. By the way, guys, it was a big theater. By the way, it was a big theater, many show runs, and I was literally sitting right in front of them. And so I was looking at my essay, right, and some code, right, and then literally they were behind me. I'm not insane. And then later on, last week in Hong Kong, I met Dan, who was seated at the exact same table as I was, again, opposite of me, right? I was like, wow, holy shit, I gotta get my ass on this podcast and also South Africa. I gotta get my entire ass, to South Africa, very soon, or something, But
you do have to come and visit us, for sure.
Yeah, it's crazy, yeah. But I mean, wow, holy shit. That is like 14 in a row. Different people anyway. Yes, different people. Always different people.
Ben is our CMO who was in Hong Kong recently. So, and also just to let everybody know, we've got G on the podcast. G, why don't you tell everybody who you are before we jump into all the questions for Meow?
Yeah, sure. So I serve as Chief Operating Officer at VALR. Zon thinks of me as the Solana degen on the team. Solana is what I talk about a lot of the time. So I think he dragged me on board today, which I'm very thankful for, so that we could have a conversation and meow at each other a whole bunch.
Yes, meow. Yeah, awesome. Yeah. Well, I want to hear from you too, man. I want to understand what you think is going on right now, because it's crazy, man. This is crazy. So much going on right now. It's crazy. Yeah.
To wrap up the intros, Meow, I just wanted to tell everybody that they might not know you as well as others, but that you've been a builder in the crypto space for a long time. You were one of the founding teams of WBTC. You're basically being the builder behind Jupiter, on the Solana ecosystem. You've been doing a whole bunch of stuff, lead advisor to Incidap, Kyber, Blockfolio, a whole bunch of things. So we're very excited just to really pick your brains and also try to understand from you what's going on in this ecosystem and where we're going. But on that note, just to start off with, maybe you can just tell us a little bit about who you are and how you got into crypto.
Hi, I'm Meow. I'm a cat, and I meowed my way into crypto. I'm never joking. I'm never joking. I'm pretty serious about that. I'm very serious about that. I really think that a cat describes my role in crypto pretty well, in the sense that I think that like seriously, if you go to my talk at Hong Kong, my title is cat, right? You know, right? And the reason is because I feel like crypto changes so fast, right? It's crazy. I'm not joking. Like everything I thought I knew. And by the way, guys, I think I'm pretty in trend, by the way. You know, that's just on top of things, right? Like last year, I was already on top of meme coins. I already knew meme coins, everything and stuff. Then it just exploded, right? Pump fund came in and number of memes exploded. And suddenly meme coins became like the Donald Trump video got shot, and then they're like 10-year dollar tokens, right? And that's crazy, right? So I feel like the best way to for me to think of myself in this space is not to is to really just be as flexible as possible, right? You know, and just be like as alert as possible, you know, about everything that's going on, right? So that's something as a cat. I feel like a cat is like a good metaphor, you know, for how I think about things. You know what I'm saying? I feel like it's a pretty good way to think about stuff, right? And they're fast, they're alert, everything. So I do think that way. Secondly, is that I think I started my crypto journey in a fairly different way. I think most people that come from crypto, they come in either from marketing side of things or trading side of things or the development side of things. I came in kind of on neither, the three things. I was in tech. I was doing a lot of I was an engineer previously. Also did a lot of like PM work and growth work. And so I think but I think the way I started crypto was I was actually very I spent about a long time early on in my crypto career just breaking down different systems, right? Like the Swift, like you know the banking, the Swift system, Swift, right? Swift systems, interchange system, action systems, and like remittance systems. And I probably just spent a good 6 months, right? You know, on those things, right? And thinking about like where crypto fits in, right? And from there I was like, yeah, these things are great, but I think crypto has a very very long way to go, right? Before you can go to take over and all those things, right? So I think I started from that kind of like system level analysis, right? You know, I also spent a lot of time thinking about like the fundamental qualities of money, like what money is. Sorry, go on.
Yeah, what type of time frame are we talking about when you're starting looking at the Swift system and
like that very retrospective and almost spiritual kind of journey started, I think 17, 18. Yeah, and also one of my really really good friends in the Bay Area was actually he's actually one of the top experts in Bitcoin, right? You know, and Ethereum, right? Like one of the top 10K experts there, right? So I just spent a lot of time. So I entered crypto not by jumping into marketing or trading or I had no money to trade, by the way. I was so broke back then, right? I'm not joking, right? So and I'm not very developer as well because I was doing burnt out, right? So I wasn't very interested in like I wasn't very interested in joining a company, joining someone. I also not very interested in like I was burned out from coding, right? And I was also like had no money to trade. So right. So I really started my whole thing from more of a financial system point of view, right? And also spiritual point of view. Like what the fuck is money kind of thing. Yeah. So that's how I got started. Yeah.
That's awesome. And because we mentioned it, why are you called Meow?
Actually, my full name is actually Meow. And if you say it faster, meow, because meow, right? You know, right? Meow. So that's one thing, right? You know, so actually, if my birth name, and you take out the characters, you get MEOW, right? So it's actually my name, right? No, right? Yeah, that's firstly. And second thing was that, okay, here's one story. when I first went to the Bay Area, America, right? I called myself like anybody else, right? I gave myself a name, right? Right? A Christian name, right? Mine was Steve, Steve, right? Then I was like using it for a while. Everyone did that, whatever and stuff. Then one day I looked myself in the mirror, man. And I was like, I was looking in the mirror, okay, guys, I was in the mirror, Then I was like, dude, are you Steve?
You
Then I was
definitely
like,
don't
fuck.
sound like a Steve.
Precisely. Thank you, G. Thank you. Right. Thank you. Right. So I was like, why the fuck am I calling you Steve? What the fuck? Then I realized I was like being conformist. When I went to so I started my birth name Meow, right? And the Bay Area, I would call myself Steve, right? Then I realized I just being conformist, right? Because like, you know what I'm saying? Right. And then I said, fuck it. Fuck Steve. And then I went to call myself Ming, M-I-N-G, right? Which is fine, right? But then the fucking problem was there are too many fucking Mings, right? You have like Ming, like Chinese got Min, M-I-N, and M-I-N-G. Vietnam got M-I-H, right? And then Japan got a Min, Korea got a Min, right? So every fucking Eastern culture has a Min, right? Even my ex-girlfriend was called Min, M-I-N, right? So it's like kind of crazy, right? But anyway, so it's like that's too normal, right? So I went from being like too trad. My origin was too traditional, and then too conformist, and then too normie, right? Then one day I just fuck. Then last year I just went fuck it. I just didn't go on Meow. And that was before the and that was actually before the token launch. Because before that, I was actually quite low profile, right? I didn't really tweet. I didn't some people knew me, but I was like really low profile, right? So like last year in November was when I really started like being more loud, and a lot louder, right? So fuck it, Meow. Yeah, that's the journey of my name.
And as you said, you do speak fast, and so even when you were calling yourself your previous name, people did hear Meow in any case.
Yeah, for sure. Like in elementary school, right? They asked me what's my name. I said Meow. Yeah. So that's
Meow,
the start of my name.
Yeah. So I think like the first time I heard of you, right, was just before the Jupiter token launch, when I started using Jupe for meme coin trading specifically. And you write a lot, right? You write a lot on Twitter. You've got your own website as well, meow.bio. If anyone hasn't read that, listening to this podcast, I highly recommend going to read some of the articles that Meow's written on his blog. But tell us a little bit, like, you've moved from being quite quiet in the space to being a very prominent voice, right? And that's probably chaotic, isn't it? I imagine there's a whole lot of chaos in your life at the moment, running a major protocol on a Solana, and just being very prominent and active. How do you manage that? It's something we deal with as well. So very curious to hear how you handle the chaos and stresses of being in the crypto space.
Great question. So thanks for asking. Okay. Thanks for asking. I appreciate it. I think I simplify. I cut things, right? I feel like I cut a lot of things, right? I cut a lot of things. Like for example, I travel a lot, right? And I wear mostly Uniqlo, right? Like this t-shirt, Uniqlo t-shirt, right? And this t-shirt is an Arism t-shirt. I know exactly what size it fits me, what size it fits. It's also very, very, and I hate to pay for a lot of laundry because it's a scam. So I just need to wash it and put it on air. It just dries in 2 hours, right? So it's like I think that I think there's a very, very good example, right, of how like you simplify life because you do with less things in general, right? You know what I'm saying, right? Right. And also recently, a couple years ago, I got divorced. It was a very good divorce, right? And then the kid is awesome, so that is a big deal for me, right? That's just a lot of stuff all the way. You know what I'm saying? I'll be frank. I mean, by the way, I'm being very open here, by the way, right? Because I think you guys are awesome. So I'm just being open.
We appreciate that. We appreciate that.
Yeah. Over the last 3 years or so, I think a lot of things did happen. And I keep my life pretty simple, right? But I think keeping life simple, I think it's actually really big because I feel like when you worry about a lot of things, you know what I'm saying? Like, I think it just adds more stress to you. So I'm actually actively trying to reduce more things I think about, right? That's actually one thing, right? I think the other, but that's a more of a personal angle. I think from a but maybe more relevant to this conversation, two things. Number one is that I focus on one channel output.
You focus, sorry, say that again. You focus on what? On one what?
One single output channel. Let me explain. I mean, you guys do a lot of stuff, right? So you guys know that there's the board of directors, there's the public, there's the team, there's like a, there's like a PR, there's a lot of things to think about, right? And then they all have different requirements and demands and everything, I think that, right? And so one thing for Jupiter that I was very, very deliberate about, right, was to say, fuck it. One single point of comms, right? And for me, it was a community, right? So I have time to do all those things because I have a single point of communications. I'm saying, like, I don't have a PR strategy to do. I don't do a PR strategy. I don't do a board. I don't do a PR strategy to control the community, right? I don't brief my community manager to say, right? I don't, and then I don't, and then I don't have a different. I don't even have team notes, to be honest, right? I mean, like I spend I spend probably 95% of my time internal communications, right? About 90% of the time is public, right? And 10% is team, right? And even for my public notes and stuff, I focus on community, not everybody else, right? Community, right? Because I feel like in the past, basically, I eliminate a lot of sources of concern, right? I don't worry too much about what everyone else in the world says. You know what I'm saying? As long as I actually make sure that I do right by community. I'm saying, and that's a big deal because if I'm trying to kind of write for everyone, right? And I was kind of doing that pre-Bit at some periods of my life, or pre-Bitcoin, trying to please everyone. That was very difficult for me, right? So basically I got rid of a lot of things, right? I got rid of so I got rid of that there's no board of directors, and I also deliberately structured that way, right? Such that I don't actually have to. I don't talk to VCs, right? I don't talk to board of directors, right? I know that's luxury and not everyone has, right? But but that's what I do. So that's how I do it, right? I create a single point of comms, yeah, and then and that's where I channel everything.
Yeah, and I think it's been pretty clear, right, that you have really strong engagement with the community that follows Jupiter. I remember last week, I think, or a couple of weeks ago, when the market just absolutely tanked, you tweeted, "Guys, I feel like crap. Let's jump on a space and just flesh it out and chat." And it's those kinds of interactions that I think keep some people. I saw that. I speak for myself. I tuned in. I listened to these conversations. It gives me a lot of confidence that Jupiter is being built for the community that uses it. Right. It's one of the kind of. Sorry. Yeah. Go ahead.
No. Go.
Yeah. So what I want to say is, I think it kind of shows the ethos part of the ethos that you've written about on Twitter and everywhere else. That if you're going to build something, you've got to care about the people you're building for. It's one of the reasons that we started VALR, is that we felt like people were not being served very well in our market, and so we wanted to do better. Right? We didn't like the products that existed, so we went to build our own. And because we care a lot about the people that we serve, it keeps us going. Right? It keeps our energies up. It makes us feel like we have strength to keep going forward. So I was just curious, there's probably a few, there's an ethos behind what you're doing that we'd love to hear about. right? Like you've spoken about products, incentives, and ecosystems. Meow loves his acronyms, so that's PI. So like would love to hear a little bit more about the ethos behind building Jupiter. And just very quickly, for the listeners that might not be super familiar with what Jupiter is an aggregator that's built on Solana that provides access to trade any token on Solana. Limit orders are one of the products. You can DCA on Jupiter as well, just systematic trading. You've even got perpetual contracts on the platform. So we'd love to hear a little bit about, what's the ethos behind building Jupiter for the team?
Wow, so there's a lot there, so I'll uncover my one, okay? First of all, I think I feel like a lot of builders they're under a lot of stress, to be alpha, right? To be like, oh, nothing is wrong, everything's great, everything's going to the moon, right? And I don't like that. I think that it is much better to be honest about what is going on, what is doing well, what's doing not so well, how you're feeling about stuff. Because I think that is actually tremendous, right? In like I deeply believe, right, that everyone, whether someone is a community member, a trader, or even a hater, right, they understand what it feels like. I'm saying, to go through things. So it's actually much better to kind of like be with them rather than be like, hey, I am this unfailable guy or girl, right? I think that's actually a lot of try to do. I think that's actually really bad, right, and difficult. And actually, honestly, pointless, right? Yeah. I think the second thing I would say is that I think, I see that I really admire how you guys run better. I also admire kind of how you guys do ecosystem outreach. I'm saying right now, I mean, I'm always surprised by like how awesome you guys are, right? So that's the reason why actually I'm very happy to be here, right? And just learning from you guys as well, right? You guys are also very inspiring to me, in terms of how to how to put people together. And I'd love to go to as you said, I'd love to hang out with you guys in person sometime. That'd be fun, right? Yeah. Lastly, I think as for Jupiter is right now. It's actually we went from aggregator to being honestly a full platform these days, right? We have like we are probably one of the largest like perps trading platform, decentralized perps trading platform. We are we have our own launchpad, and we also have our own and we have our own like meme coin terminal and everything, right? And also we're also the world's largest DAO, right? With about 300,000 actively voting members. Yeah. So what's the ethos? So I think what led us to go from being an aggregator to being a full trading suite, and the number one DAO, and also a top perps platform, right? And I think I think the ethos for us, I think honestly, is fun. It sounds crazy, but it's fun. We don't really go by market share. We don't really go, this is a big market, let's go there. We don't really do that actually. I mean, we because what we do instead is that we go, okay, is this an area that we want to learn about, right? Oh, curiosity. Yes, curiosity. Yes. I think it's curiosity. Yes, it's curiosity. Yes. It's curiosity. Yes, I think it's curiosity. I think we are very curious people, right? Right? And then we go like, hey, can we do something here, right? If we do something, how we use it, how we do it, right? You know what I'm saying, right? And we're also confident. We're also confident that if we go in and do something, it might not be right away, but we can eventually get it right. For example, groups, Jupiter work groups, they're actually really powerful. We have a Colo group, Uplink work group, Cadet work group, and a whole bunch of other work groups, right? I think I actually do even the last 6 months, they've added tremendous value to Jupiter already. And I'm very, very sure that given like a year, right, we will have like, many work groups. So those are not very product related, but also figure out like we innovate our stuff, we innovate our work groups, right? We innovate our work groups. We innovate our work groups to innovate on we innovate on like ASR, active taking rewards, CWG, and also the NJ4J, right? And also 50/50, right? So that we also do a lot of like stuff in terms of the community and product and communications, right? As well. So I think, I feel like so I think in summary, I think our ethos is like we are curious, I think, and secondly we are confident, and thirdly is that we like to create things, create new ideas. Create ideas. So I think those three things, let me say again, because I think it's pretty a good summary of ethos. I think at Jupiter, we are curious about important things like meme coins, launches, perps, and want to learn more about them. And we're also confident, right, that if we actually enter something, we can actually add value or be different. And if not, we're also confident enough to kill it. No problem. And then we won't pretend that it's great, right? And thirdly, I think I think we like to create things. We create things that are better or newer or important, and we don't know whether it's gonna be good or not, but we'll try. Yeah. So three C's.
These are the three cats of Jupiter.
Yeah, three C's. New thing, three C's.
Meow, how big is the team now?
I got some big news to share, but I can't share them yet. But but pretty sizable at this point. I think we used to be about I think 20 people, right? But in recent days, I think we expanded the team quite a bit. We almost doubled it. We think we more than doubled recently. Yeah, due to some factors. I can't say yet. Yeah.
Okay. Do you want to give any hints?
Soon. Yeah. But we great. It'll be exciting to traveling. Yeah.
Awesome. You mentioned a little bit earlier about when you got in, you kind of were looking at Swift. I think you mentioned your spiritual principles or outlook on life. So I wanted to ask you, kind of taking a step back, what are you trying to accomplish in the grander scheme of things? Let's say in a number of years, you look back, like, what would you say, okay, I actually accomplished what I wanted to, or I failed at what I'm trying to do? What is that thing that you're trying to do? In the grand scheme of things, like in the philosophical perspective of things.
Maximize
what?
Life potential. Yeah, I don't believe in succeeding or failing. I really, really don't. I think, as I mentioned before in the podcast and stuff, I think I wasn't successful in the traditional ways for many years, right? Whether in terms of like along any traditional metric, everything, right? Especially money, right? But then I was always extremely happy, in the sense that I was always learning a lot, trying a lot, and I guess my point is, I guess there was never a certain point in my life, right, where I felt like I wasn't pushing myself to the limit, saying about what I can do, right? What can I do? I mean, even if I fail, I try really hard, right? That's my limit, right? Right? And knowing those limitations became very helpful for me for Jupiter, right? Like, I knew my limits. I knew that I can't do a bot, community, user, product at one go. I can't. It's 20, right? I need to streamline my thinking to one thing. I'm saying, right? I have a very, very clear focus, right? I'm saying, and that thing became community, right? I'm saying, right? So I think that was helpful for me, right? And so I think for me, it's about like maximize. I think I don't have any, like, I'm not very vanity driven, vanity metric driven. I don't really care about vanity metrics. I think I mean, 1 billion is a very arbitrary number, right? Think about it. It literally is a very arbitrary number, right? That society somehow deemed important. To be a billionaire, a unicorn, whatever, right? Like, society somehow deemed it to be important, right? I think and further, when we started Jupiter and stuff, we didn't go, oh, we're going to be a billion MC project or MC project. We didn't think that way. We just didn't, right? I think the success, if I don't think success yet, by the way, I think there's a long way to go before talking about success, right? But I think any success that we created can be attributed to us not caring about those things, right? And really caring about the user, our ethos, and our contribution. Seriously, I think the token launch earlier this year was simply a reflection, of all those things. The ethos, contribution, and everything. Things like that. That was simply a reflection of that, right? And certainly, I think So I think that's actually very important. I don't maximize, right? So I think maximize potential, maximize the potential of the team, community I care about, right? So can we really build a community, right? You know what I'm saying? that is of net value to the world, right? Because there are many communities today that are of net negative value to the world. You know what I'm saying, right? Yeah. So I think that's what I want to do. So I think if I can die knowing that, okay, wow, I messed out, bro. I messed out. I really messed out. Then I'm happy, I think. Yeah.
Okay. And I'm curious, when you say previously that you weren't successful, what do you? I mean, you said that by traditional metrics. What do you mean you weren't successful previously?
Just like I feel like, for example, I think I started a project earlier that actually built the world's first like social recommendation engine. Right. So we're the first to actually take the social data, because about 14 years ago, most of the recommendation engine was semantic based, right? They were based on semantics, right? So word based recommendation. So we were the first to actually take all the social connections, like the follow graph, interaction graph, to make recommendations, right? For example, if you wrote a lot about technology, I might the traditional algorithm would recommend you based on technology, right? The word technology, I'm saying, right? The word cloud. We're like fuck that. That's not interesting, right? What's actually a lot more interesting is like going, hey, who do you follow? Who do you talk to? Well, who do they follow? Who do they talk to? Right? So using the social connection stuff to build the recommendation engine, right? Things like that. So that, for example, that project actually went pretty well. That project became like one of the most viral projects on Twitter. I'm saying way back, right? But we couldn't find either a very scalable user model or a very scalable revenue model, right? And I also didn't try to sell it, right? So as a result, I built a technically very innovative thing, and got a lot of friends who respected my work in the Bay Area, right? But I was broke. So that's what I meant, right? I tried my best, and I had to do stuff, really push myself really fucking hard in many ways, but I didn't succeed in the traditional sense, in the sense that I didn't a successful startup per se. I also didn't have a big title. I also didn't have any money. I'm saying, right? So those are things that people normally care about, right? And I'm saying, right, in terms of everything, right? But I didn't have any of those. So that's what I meant,
Got you. Yeah, I mean, I think what you just said about trying your best is something that actually very few of us in life do, because of fears of failure in the traditional sense, etc. So I think you've been very lucky that you've actually been trying things, and obviously you are where you are right now.
We talked about this for a while. Can we talk about more personal things here? Is it okay?
Yeah, please. Absolutely.
You talk about Baha'i, right? The Baha'i thing,
right? Yeah.
Yeah. I was talking to you about that, right? And then, do you mind me talking about that? Do you mind?
Not at all. Anything is game. Absolutely.
Yeah, so I think one of the things that I really love about my about one of the communities I really love, right? Is the Baha'i community, right? They just have such a great outlook in life, and it's so accepting, right? And I really like they go like, Christians, amazing. Muslims, amazing, right? Jewish, amazing, right? Everything's amazing, right? And I love that. I really love that. I feel like crypto should be like that. Bitcoin, amazing. Ethereum, amazing. Cardano, kinda amazing, right? But I mean, even Cardano, you can find something to respect about that, right? You know what I'm saying, right? No, like even scam coin, you can be like, okay, they did something interesting there, right? It's like mosquitoes, right? It's like, you know what? It's like scammers are like mosquitoes. You hate them, but they are there. You need to have compassion for them as well, right? Along those lines, I don't know, but yeah, I feel like, and you just want to say like, I'd love to hear more from you, by the way. But I personally think that the Baha'i mindset is awesome, right? And I think especially in crypto, it's such a great mindset. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I agree. That's one of the things we chatted about at the dinner we had, and actually, that was also when I really respected your curiosity for life, because you shared a little bit about your own story and kind of your upbringing, and then asking yourself questions about belief systems, and really kind of just I think what's really important is just your desire to really go down and keep asking the why until it makes sense to you. And I think whether it's in religion or whether it's with money or whether it's with nationalism or racism, I think we don't have enough people in the world that are asking the why, so that things make sense to them, and they kind of stop asking. And in some areas of the world, if you keep asking, you're told to stop asking because, why don't you have any faith? Stop asking the questions, just have faith, whether it's religion or otherwise. And so you shared a little bit about your story. Go ahead.
No, I feel like so one of the stories that they did, I remember very clearly, right, in the sense of the Baha'i community meetup, right, that I remember very clearly was that so I was telling him that, I don't think God exists, right? And he didn't, and the guy I was talking to, he didn't give me a mean look, and he didn't you're stupid, you're non-believer. He didn't do that stuff, right? He also didn't he just said one thing. I remember this story very well, by the way. That story is actually one reason why I remember the whole thing so well, right? He said this. Okay, imagine an ant, right, on a tree, right, and there's a human, right, standing above him and looking at him, right? Do you think the ant knows what's going on? Right? Then of course the ant doesn't, right? So when it comes to God, we are like the ant. You know what I'm saying, right? We don't know what's going on, right? And I love that because he didn't actually say whether there's a man standing over us or not. You know what I'm saying, right? He just said that, hey, you know what? We don't know. We don't know what's going on, right? Our ability to understand the world is limited by our cognitive senses, right? And even AI is merely an extension of our senses, right? You know what I'm saying? It's really a reflection of a collective senses. It doesn't actually extend our senses, right? That's crucially understand, right? AI doesn't actually extend what we don't know, right? Yeah, it just take what we know and package it up, then expands it, right? But it doesn't extend what we know, right? Yeah. So I think that anyway, I thought that was actually amazing. Yeah. So I think I feel like that is like the mindset I go into in every day, right? That it's really important not to be like, I know or don't know something, right? Just be like, okay, cool. This is how I see things. You know what I'm saying? I all I can do is to kind of like understand reality the best it is, but always know that my line of sight is here. That's all I can see. Yeah, that's all. That's interesting. Yeah.
Absolutely. No, thanks for
That's Baha'i. That's from the Baha'i guy.
No, one of the things we chatted about, and one of the reasons that I'm in this space is because actually it's really inspired by the Baha'i writings and the Baha'i view of the world and where we're going. And one of the things is that it says that, and I'll read you. This is a quote from 1999. Okay, from the Baha'i community. And it's really a really powerful quote. So in 1999, a decade before Bitcoin. And it says, it would be difficult to exaggerate the psychological and social impact of the anticipated replacement of the jumble of existing monetary systems, for many the ultimate fortress of nationalist pride, by a single world currency operating largely through electronic impulses. Right. So, and in the Baha'i community and the Baha'i writings, it talks about a future world where there will be a universal system of currencies that isn't just this jumble of nationalist fiat currencies, but that will start recognizing our unity as a human race. And then the recognition of an identity that is human requires a monetary system of unity.
It's crazy to talk about it this way, right? It's like crypto is the reflection of our humanity.
Well, actually, I think it is, though. I think it really is, and I think it is. I mean, that's funny. One of the things I'm so excited about.
It's so funny. Oh my god! But it's actually really funny to think of it that way, right? I mean, to take what we are saying and stuff and taking it to the next level. Oh, crypto is a reflection of our humanity, united humanity. I think it's true. I think it's totally true, right? It's just funny, yeah. Yeah.
No, it's very different. It's very different to what a lot of the discourse is, which is just about, number go up or you don't really care. There's a lot of scams, obviously, still in the crypto space.
I recently sat down with the YouTube co-founder, right? To do an interview. Not interview, we're just talking shit. To shit talk, right? Yeah, we talked about that a lot. We talked about how like we went from a world of like user generated content right to a world of user generated money, right? And it was really interesting to talk about this, right? I'll be interested in writing something on this, like crypto as a reflection of our united humanity. I'll publish that. Let's go.
Changing tack a little bit. Wanted to ask. So obviously, VALR is a centralized platform, right? People have to trust us. We are custodians of people's money. We really like if you don't trust us, or if we are doing something wrong in the back end, which has happened in other exchanges around the world, as we know of. There's a lot of trust that's required from centralized exchanges like VALR. Right, and there's a lot of responsibility on us to do the right thing. And then, of course, there's DeFi, where people manage their own assets. Yes, sure, there's protocol risk and other types of risks, but I wanted to get your thoughts on, kind of CeFi and DeFi and their futures, with their coexistence or one becoming more dominant. Any thoughts you have on there? And then I think G also has a couple of follow-up questions after that.
Let's speak the truth, man. Crypto requires the most fucking trust out of any fucking thing. Okay, calling crypto trustless is a complete lie, and complete is wrong. Crypto requires trust. You're always trusting something, right? You're trusting the software developer of the software. You're trusting the stability of the code. You're trusting the good faith of other people who own the coin. Because again, right, like Bitcoin, like even because crypto is not enforced like guns. It's not, right? The whole point of crypto is that you don't actually need guns, to actually support the currency, right? But you do need faith. You still need to have trust in your human being, in your fellow holders. You still need to have faith in you still have trust in like the developer, protocol developer, right? You still need to have trust in the validators, right? So I think there's actually I know that the kind of trust is very different, right? But I think you do need to trust in many ways, right? And in fact, that's actually one problem in Bitcoin. A lot of the coins these days, there's no trust, right? By the way, bros, have you guys seen the new L1 launches the new launches this year? Really bad. Like the launches this year have been really weak, right? And I think a lot of that is because like there's actually no trust. Like there's no trust for between the project and the community, and vice versa, right? So I think that lack of trust is actually really breaking things down, right? So I think whether it's a platform or as a currency or as a system, I think crypto is very, very much about trust. You know what I'm saying? So I would just put that up front, right? And that I think is very important. As for DeFi and CeFi, I think what we're seeing now is I think the game is like blurring, right? I think the words are blurring. Okay, I think we are seeing centralized systems launch their own wallets, Coinbase launch their own chains, right? Base obviously, right? And even L2s by default, even L2s are a weird mix, right? Of like, centralization and decentralization, right? I think and like L2s are really some call them like servers, right? I mean, to be clear, people call Solana servers as well, right? Just right. So everything. So I feel like what we're going to see is that I think we're going to see a increasingly disambiguation of the two things. Right now we have SEX and DEX, but I think I'm going to see that like even Uniswap actually Uniswap X, right? It's not on-chain liquidity. It's actually market maker liquidity, right? And so is that centralized or decentralized? I mean, I don't know. You tell me, right? Like is Uniswap X like centralized liquidity? I don't know. You tell me, right? I don't know, right? Right? And certainly you see a lot of market makers, they operate in a line between like SEX and DEX, right? So my prediction is that world will become increasingly blurred, right? And the world we're going to live in is going to be like this, like interesting. It's going to be a spectrum. I'm saying, so I think that's a prediction. I think I think at some point in the next 10 years and stuff, I think sectors that do not like dexters that do I think that we'll find ourselves in a world where everyone will exist along the spectrum. And it just like depends on what spectrum in that arbitrary line called DeFi CeFi will be gone, in my opinion. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And I think that's how to worry. Yeah. Mm-hmm. I think for example for you guys, for example for so I think I'm quite sure you guys are thinking a lot about DeFi as well. You know what I'm saying? Right. And the fact that we're even having this conversation, and I've been seeing a lot of things that you guys are doing. I'm pretty sure that you guys will be interested in diving more right into the DeFi aspects as well. For sure. Right? I mean, like seriously, this conversation is indicative of that, right? I mean, why would you talk to a team, that is in DeFi? Clearly, you guys are curious, right? Makes sense? Yeah. So I think the ones that are curious will be those that win. That's what I think. Yeah. And the ones that are very rare and build trust the user, right? Oh. Guys, think about it. Why is it that everything that Coinbase does is such a big deal? Is it just because of how big? No, because we trust them. Coinbase earned the trust, right? Of the crypto community. Therefore, when they do DeFi stuff, people just do it, right? You know what I'm saying? Right. That's a huge, by the way, right? So, success as of now, we have the user-facing advantage, right? Because they have licenses and everything and stuff, and then so they can do that. So if they're able to parlay that trust, into decentralized networks, right? That'll be amazing, and you can see that base. Yeah, yep. Or before the BNB and everything.
We're gonna start wrapping up soon. G, I want to see if you have the last couple of questions, and then I got one more question for Meow, and then we'll start wrapping up.
Yeah. Maybe one last question is, look, I totally agree. I think that ultimately you can end up deciding what you trust in the crypto space now, whether it's the code that some human wrote, right? And that could be Satoshi, who is also human and probably fallible in some respects. Even he put bugs in his code.
Remember, right now you can argue that you don't trust Bitcoin. You don't trust, right? But how about early on? No, guys, we all no, I'm not kidding. Right now, when things are obviously concrete enough, you can be like, that's not trust. You don't trust, right? But it didn't start that way. You see what I'm saying, right? Right? Like there was actually a lot of faith that was needed, right, by the early community. You know what I'm saying? Definitely, yeah. How many people do you think who ran the Bitcoin nodes actually can read the code? Probably not that many, right? Seriously.
Yeah, exactly. So you end up deciding what you choose to trust, whether it's a protocol, like some code that people have written, or the humans behind a centralized entity, right? You guys have gone down the path of building out a DAO that allows the community to vote, right, on the direction that the DAO takes. Do you feel like that's going well? Do you feel like there's developments or adjustments that need to be made to the DAO structure for Jupiter? How do you think that that's playing out so far?
Or also any limitations of that structure?
Yeah,
I think it's doing great. I think it's amazing. When much better than I ever thought it was possible. I think it's because we didn't romanticize DAOs. That's a crucial thing that we did. We did not romanticize it. We did not idolize it. We didn't romanticize it. But I'm saying, we understood it as a very powerful mechanism to get people involved and to get legitimacy and to force transparency, right? Those three things. Okay, we didn't romanticize it as like the be all and all of like things. Like everything can be DAO, right? You know what I'm saying? No, we didn't. We didn't romanticize it. We practicalized it. We put in all the systems in place. We focus a lot on communications. We set up work groups to help us communicate better. We recruited the best community people in the space to be part of the DAO groups to help us formalize DAO processes. Right? We put in a lot of fucking work into it. Okay? We did not romanticize it. That's the key thing. And then it works. I mean, we have probably the most active DAO in crypto, right? Right? And because we didn't romanticize it, we were very sincere about feedback, right? And we keep on improving it, right? I'm saying, yeah, that's how I think. Yeah, because everyone just goes, oh, DAO, like, dude, making the DAO about the voting, about the code and the program, is like trying to say a democracy is about voting machines, right? It doesn't work that way. It's not about that. Who cares about a fucking polling machine, right? It's about the people, the communication, the processes, the campaigning, right? And I'm saying no, that the entire process that makes it work, not the fucking polling machines, right? The polling machines are just the end. I'm saying, right, to the goal, right? And I think that's why people fuck up. I think, yeah. I think, and for example, some of the major protocols, they were the big thing a few years ago, and then recently they had their one quarter of the treasury. I mean, saying like got wiped, because of the DAO vote, right? And we see that very often. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So yeah, that's how it works. I think it's going well so far. Yeah, and but again, early, right? But I think so far it's good. Yeah.
Okay, great. I have one more question. I have to ask.
Yeah.
Yeah. How do you feel about Justin's son? And Sun Pump.
I don't know him.
That's just been launched.
I don't know him. I don't know Justin. I never had a chance to interact with him. My only interaction with him was in the WBTC so far, WBTC, whereby he's affiliated with Global, which went a joint venture with Ubigo, right? Yeah. So that was and then after I did Twitter space, right? And I got connected to him on chat, but that's it. I don't know him enough. I didn't even track what went on with Tron before, right? I know lots of people say a lot of things, and I can't make a judgment call, right? Before meeting him or talking to him or knowing a lot more. Yeah, that's what I meant. Yeah. As for Sun Pump, it's making a lot of noise now, right? And I hope it works out. I hope it works out fine, But yeah, I think turning that it's very founder driven right now, right? It's just him driving it right now, right? Whereas I think projects that I think have a lot more longevity tends to be driven by the community, right? So I think that's actually something that's a bit concerning. I think, yeah. So I hope that he can actually do well. Yeah.
I think we need a lot of goodwill in the space in general. I think, sometimes we bring ourselves down as a community. And I think, at least, again, from my spiritual perspective as well, the more unity we can build, the more we can kind of create a ecosystem where we're assisting each other to build a better system, the much better it will be for the world. So I'm very excited about that prospect becoming stronger and stronger. 2 last questions for you, Meow. My last question, second last question is, obviously you're doing a lot of stuff on the Solana chain. What are your thoughts on BTC, Bitcoin, and kind of the interplay between Bitcoin and Solana? Just a very open-ended question. Any thoughts you had on that?
I mean, I love Bitcoin. Right? I love the community. I mean, it's a very, very different community, but what I'm observing is that that community is diversifying, right? It's really diversifying, right? From what used to be extremely focused on. In fact, I was talking to Ed, right? At Portfolio, from Portfolio. I think he was telling me last time how when he started Portfolio, no one believed in it, right? People that there was only going to be Bitcoin, right? And of course, if there was only going to be Bitcoin, you didn't need anything else, right? You just need to track a Bitcoin, right? That's it. I think one of these theses is that all content is huge, right? But that was actually at a time where most people actually thought that Bitcoin should be the only thing, right? In fact, a lot of the most prominent voices today in the whole in crypto are people who were previously going like only Bitcoin. You know what I'm saying? Right? You don't need anything else. So the world has come a long way since then, right? I think now we're seeing Bitcoin sort of like NFTs, or whether it's NFTs or DeFi or Babylon and everything. There's actually a huge amount going on with Bitcoin. So what I think is that I think we will see a extremely healthy ecosystem form up in the different Bitcoin ecosystems. Yeah, and I don't think the interaction will be necessarily Bitcoin Solana, right? No, I think it will be. I think Bitcoin. Here's the thing about crypto, right? Is that it's extremely tribal, right? So I don't necessarily think that we will see a lot of crossover between Ethereum and Bitcoin and Solana, just because of how tribal it is, right? Like for example, like Solana people talk about Bitcoin not in a way that they go like, hey, I love Bitcoin, I love the Bitcoin ecosystem, right? Everything, right? It's more like, oh, there is liquidity in Bitcoin. Let me get it over here. You know what I'm saying, right? To do stuff with, right? It is not a merging of communities. And what you see is that Bitcoin community has a core community, and they are branching out, like Babylon, Ordinals, and everything, right? So that the community will form, the community will grow, and ideally Solana Christian will grow, and there's going to be liquidity overlap, right? But I'm not sure whether there'll be ecosystem overlap. Now, I'm sure that you jump around, but it's different from the overlap. It's different from, for example, the overlap between, say, like between the L2s, right? There's actually a lot more cultural overlap over there, but even that is actually splintering at this point, right? Yeah, so anyway, so I think my prediction, I think, is that we'll start to see a lot more liquidity interchange, especially between the different, like, and actually, of course, like, for now, there's going to be CBBTC, which was used in WTC and CBTC, right? And obviously CBTC will be used in everywhere else. So I do actually see a explosion in liquidity exchange, but in terms of the core community and culture and building networks, I think it'll be still quite fragmented. I think different. Yeah. And for us, certainly, we are very interested in Bitcoin as both as security and as a community. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Awesome. So my last question to you, Meow, is there a question that I should have asked that we didn't ask, or me, Angie, that we didn't ask, or any other, other podcasts? Are there any questions that we should have been asking you and that we haven't? And what is your answer to that? In other words, is there anything else that you want to share with us or with our listeners about any topic?
I mean, you should be asking me, like, when South Africa, No,
I'm serious. Actually, I'll drop a little hint. You talked a little bit about some of the things that you're working on. We're going to be in touch, Meow, and I can tell you that we will be seeing you in South Africa. You don't know it yet, but we will be seeing you in South Africa in 2025 for sure.
Sounds great. Sounds awesome. Yeah, sounds good. Can't wait. All right.
Meow, thank you so much. Such a lovely pleasure to chat with you and to spend this time with you. G, thanks for joining us, and we'll make that hangout in person happen sometime soon, I hope.
Thank you, G, for showing up, and thanks for paying attention to the space, and thanks for all the great questions. Appreciate it. Seriously.
So
and
much.
Thanks, Farzam, for all your wisdom. It's really, really great to reconnect with the Baha'i thinking, right? After so many years. It's been, it's been like 6, 17, 18 years, right? Holy shit, it's crazy. So it's really good to connect again with that line of thinking, right? And love what you guys are doing. And I'm pretty sure you guys will be doing a lot more DeFi stuff soon. I'm pretty sure that. Yeah,
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Meow.
Thank you.
Have a lovely night. Take care.